Okay, so yesterday was supposed to be the day Formula One fixed itself. The big emergency meeting, the FIA, every team, every engine manufacturer, all sitting in a room together, April 9th. The date the whole paddock had been circling for 2 weeks. And now it's done. The meeting happened, the FIA put out a statement, and I want to be completely honest with you about what actually came out of it, because the answer is more complicated than either the optimists or the pessimists are saying right now. And if you watched my preview video yesterday, you deserve the full, honest breakdown of what was decided, what was not decided, and what it actually means for Miami on May 3rd. Let me get straight into it. Channel intro plays. Welcome back, everyone. F1 every single day on this channel. Subscribe and hit the bell. More coming this week as the next meetings happen. Let's go. So here is the first thing you need to understand about yesterday. The April 9th meeting was never going to be the meeting where everything gets fixed. I mentioned this in the preview video, but I want to say it again clearly. Yesterday was a technical working session. Engineers and technical directors from the teams and engine manufacturers sitting together with FIA officials, going through data, going through options, and presenting ideas. No votes, no final decisions, no immediate rule changes. That comes later. But what did come out of it matters a lot, and the FIA statement gives us the clearest signal yet of the direction this is heading. The FIA said, and this is the actual official quote, "It was generally agreed that although the events to date have provided exciting racing, there was a commitment to making tweaks to some aspects of the regulations in the area of energy management. There was constructive dialogue on difficult topics, especially when considering the competitive nature of the stakeholders." Now, I want to unpack that statement because there are two things in there that are really important and one thing that is extremely telling. The first thing, they called the dialogue constructive, and they specifically flagged that it was difficult given how competitive the stakeholders are. That is F1 speak for. The teams who are winning right now were in that room trying to protect their advantages while the teams who are losing were pushing hard for change. That tension was real. It was acknowledged in the official statement. Nobody is pretending it was all smiles and handshakes. The second thing, they specifically said energy management is the focus, not the racing, not the overtakes, not the yo-yo style battles that fans either love or hate depending on who you ask. The FIA made it clear, the racing itself is not the priority for change right now. Energy management is, and that means safety. That means the speed drops on the straights. That means the Behrman crash situation. Those are the things that everyone in that room agreed need to be addressed urgently. And the third thing, the most important line in the entire statement, is this. There was a commitment to making tweaks, not a commitment to fixing everything. Not a commitment to scrapping the regulations. Tweaks. And that tells you exactly where the priorities are right now. Pragmatic, incremental, and aimed at stability over spectacle. So, what is the actual timeline from here? Because this is important for anyone watching who wants to know if Miami is going to look different to Suzuka. The next step is April 15th, a sporting regulations meeting where any changes to the sporting rules that would be needed to support technical modifications get discussed. The day after, April 16th, is another technical session where everything from the April 9th meeting gets followed up, and any new ideas that have come up in the meantime get aired. And then the big one, April 20th. That is the high-level meeting with team principals, FIA leadership, and F1 management all together in one room. That is where the actual proposals get voted on. After that vote, the results go to the FIA World Motorsport Council for final ratification. And if everything goes to plan, any agreed changes need to be distributed to teams with enough time to update their car software and systems before May 3rd in Miami. That is an incredibly tight window. We are talking about potentially less than 2 weeks between the April 20th vote and race day. Now here is the really interesting part. What was actually discussed in the room on April 9th. The FIA's statement was deliberately vague, saying only a raft of topics, but paddock sources say the same proposals stayed on the table. The big one is an energy recovery limit cut. In qualifying, Cars were at 9 megajoules per lap, already trimmed to 8 before Suzuka after simulations warned of extra super clipping. The data from Suzuka backed it up. Even 8 was too high. Some teams now want to drop to 6 megajoules. The logic: less harvest demand, less super clipping on the straights, and a cleaner on-camera throttle profile. The FIA's numbers suggest 9 to 8 cut super clipping from roughly 10 seconds per lap to about 6. Going to 6 megajoules would reduce it further, but add lap time, maybe 1 to 2 seconds in quali. Some fans won't love that trade, but the argument is simple. A slightly slower car driven flat out looks better than a faster car managed like a spreadsheet. Hence Proposal 2. Raise the super clipping harvest limit. Right now, full throttle harvest caps at 250 kilowatts, while lift and coast allows 350, literally rewarding backing off mid-straight. Match super clipping to 350 to kill that incentive. And in qualifying, open active aero. Let straight mode run freely, reduce drag, conserve battery, and make laps feel properly flat out again. Now here's the uncomfortable truth that I want to be upfront about. Even if all of these changes get agreed at the April 20th meeting, ratified by the World Motorsport Council, and implemented in time for Miami, they are tweaks. They are not a fundamental overhaul of the regulations. Max Verstappen was explicit after Suzuka. He expects any improvements to be marginal for 2026, and he is hoping for more substantial changes heading into 2027. And that is the context you have to keep in mind. The FIA is not going to tear up the 2026 rulebook and start again. The manufacturers invested billions in these power units. You cannot just throw them away. What you can do is adjust parameters, and that is what this whole process is about. But here is what I think is genuinely positive about how yesterday played out. The fact that there was a commitment at all is significant. Before the season started, the FIA's position was essentially, wait and see. Give it time. Teams will figure it out. After Behrman's 50G crash in Suzuka, that position became impossible to maintain. The data from 3 races is now in the room. Everyone has seen it. And even the teams that are winning, Mercedes and Ferrari, who have every reason to resist change, were apparently part of a constructive conversation rather than a flat-out blockade. The FIA specifically noted the competitive nature of the stakeholders and still called it constructive. That is actually something. And the other thing worth noting, Carlos Sainz was one of the loudest voices before this meeting pushing for changes. As GPDA director, he stood in the Suzuka paddock and pointed directly at the Behrman crash and said, "This is what we warned you about," he said. Imagine this happening in Baku or Singapore or Las Vegas. Street circuits with walls everywhere, no escape roads. That message was heard. Safety is item number 1 on every agenda going into April 20th, and nobody in that room is going to vote against something that could prevent the next major accident. So where does this leave us? The meeting happened. The commitment is real. The timeline is set, April 15th, 16, 20, then ratification, then Miami. The changes being discussed, energy limits, super clipping thresholds, active aero in qualifying, are genuine improvements that would make the cars look and feel more like Formula One. They will not fix everything. They will not silence Verstappen. They will not turn the 2026 regulations into the 2024 cars everyone loved. But they could make qualifying a flat-out spectacle again, eliminate the most dangerous speed differentials, and give Miami a fighting chance of being a genuinely great weekend, rather than a repeat of Suzuka. The next big date is April 20th. That is when the actual decisions get made. And I will be right here breaking it all down as soon as that meeting ends. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What should the FIA prioritize? Safety first, a qualifying fix, or something more radical? Like the video, subscribe if you are not already, and I will see you very soon with the next update. Stay on the racing line.